In this presentation, I'm going to give an introduction to working with Motion Builder. Motion Builder has a streamlined set of tools specifically for dealing with character animation. It's based on a real-time engine, so it's ideally suited to doing virtual production. You'll notice the user interface is dark like the other media entertainment products, and it's based on Qt, so I can take any of my panels, undock them, move them around, and then redock them. If I have custom tools written in Python, they can also be docked in the user interface. When working with Motion Builder, your assets are going to be coming from other 3D applications, like 3D Studio Max, Softimage, or Maya. In this example, my character came from Maya through the FBX file format, which is Motion Builder's native file format. The first step to work with this character in Motion Builder is teaching it about the hierarchy of the skeleton, and we'll use the characterization tool to do this. The characterization tool is actually the same exact tool that's inside of Maya, so the first step is creating a character node. Now we'll go and create a mapping relationship between the bones in the characterization tool and the bones in our character. So all I have to do is double-click on the bone and then swipe the bone in the viewer to make that relationship. Notice that it's matching the left and the right side together because we have mirror match turned on. I'm going to use a naming template to fill out the rest of the bone matching. Motion Builder has templates for human IK as well as cat and biped. In this example, I'm going to use the IDOS template. It's important to realize that this IDOS template actually was set up inside of Maya. Maya and Motion Builder share the same template directory, so if you create a template in Maya, it's accessible in Motion Builder. Obviously, if you create a template in Motion Builder, it's also accessible in Maya because the characterization tool really is the exact same tool in both applications. So we'll apply that IDOS template. You can see all of my bones have been matched, and my characterization is now valid. So we can go ahead and lock the character off. We have a choice between biped and quadruped. We'll choose biped for this example. And we can go ahead and create the control rig now. So once we create a control rig, we can begin working with this character in the character controls window, which is also consistent with Maya. We have several choices as far as the display for our rig is. We can go ahead and jump over to the wire display and hide the SK bones because we really don't need to see them. So next we're going to go and grab our hand effector for our hand in the body part mode and begin moving this around. So you'll notice that this behaves like a standard IK chain and it stops at the body part. The character controls gives me a visual representation as to which bones can be moved with my current selection, as well as which bones would be keyed if I hit the S key. If we switch to full body mode, you can see that every effect or every joint inside of the character controls window is now stroked. So if I hit the S key, I'd be doing a full body key. Notice the effect when I overdrive that hand. It has the ability to transfer the energy past the body part and solve through the whole rig. And this is really what the human IK solver is all about inside of Motion Builder. So let's go and set a couple keyframes on this hand. We'll go and we'll set an S key at frame 0. Notice that all of the controls in my rig are stroked because my current playback head is on top of a frame that has keyed information for those frames. As soon as I move that playback head off of that frame, obviously the stroke goes away. So we'll just go out to frame 60. We'll grab this IK handle. We'll drive it back down one more time, and we'll set another keyframe. It's important to note that when you're keying inside of Motion Builder, you're always keying both FK and IK at the same time. Notice the effect of the movement of the arm as I start to interpolate between these keyframes. It's doing an arcing movement because by default, Motion Builder is basically interpolating between the rotational values. At any given time, for any of the body parts, I can basically dial in whether or not it's trying to match the rotational value for a given position or a given frame, or the translation value of the IK handle. So if I start to turn up my translation reach, you'll see that hand starts to go back to where that IK handle would be at that current frame. So if we put it at 100% and we scrub through the interpolation of those keyframes, it obviously just does that straight linear drop down. So this is just a quick overview of the setup process for a character inside of Motion Builder and how to begin working with the control rig. Next we'll look at the stereo camera. So the stereo camera is actually something that's very similar again to Maya. You can see that it's comprised of 3 cameras. We have the ability to display certain attributes of this camera in the viewport, things like the zero parallax plane, so that's my point of convergence. My interaxial separation obviously will start to separate my left and right eye. And we can actually view through this stereo camera by simply just jumping to that camera. Now the stereo camera's clipping plane is not exactly set properly, so let's go ahead and adjust that. We'll get rid of the grid, and we'll just push that clipping plane back out a little bit. So we have viewing options that are very useful. If you've got an active display, you have the ability to view through shuttered glasses. Obviously for this example, we'll just go ahead and jump over to Anaglyph, and you can see there's my stereo viewport being displayed beautifully inside of Motion Builder. So that's a quick overview of the setup process when working with Motion Builder and the stereo camera. In the next movie, we'll look at how we can repurpose the motion capture data onto this character.